During an interview on Fox News this week, Alina Habba appeared to indicate that not only should Donald Trump have criminal immunity from the things he did while in office, but she actually took it a step further, and the argument she made suggests that Donald Trump should have immunity from prosecution for literally everything he has ever done in his life before, during, and after he became president of the United States. Here is what Alina Habba had to say. Number one, do I think it's going to go ahead? Talking about the New York criminal trial slated to start on March 25th. Number one, do I think it's going to go ahead? Well, really it shouldn't. We have an immunity defense that's currently up on the Supreme Court. It's going to be made a decision and should be stayed until all those decisions are made, number one, and we'll see what happens there. But here's the kicker about this New York criminal trial that's coming up. These are about actions that Donald Trump took before he became president of the United States, and according to Trump's campaign and his lawyers, some actions that happened after he was president of the United States involving his business. So there's a lot of problems with Alina Habba's statement as well as their legal defense in general. Let me lay them out. Alina Habba is saying that if Donald Trump gets immunity from the Supreme Court, you have to throw out these charges in New York, which would mean that that presidential immunity extends to before he was president of the United States. So anything Donald Trump did in his life, from the moment he was born until he was sworn in as president, Alina Habba's statement is basically arguing that he should be immune from prosecution for any of that. That's not even how presidential immunity works. Even if the Supreme Court says, yes, Trump is immune from criminal prosecution for what he did while in office, Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan DA, is going to go, all right, that really doesn't affect me at all. I'm still moving forward with this because most of the crime actually took place before he was president. So thanks for the ruling. It doesn't matter to me at all. So I have to assume, there's a part of me, I have to assume Alina Habba knows that. But then again, I've seen Alina Habba for the last couple years now. I've watched her on TV. I've read about her legal arguments, and I cannot assume that she actually knows that. I mean, I have to assume actually that she doesn't know how that works. But here's the other part of it. As I said, some of the actions that Trump took that DA Bragg is, of course, prosecuting him for, Trump's lawyers argue that, well, he did those while he was president. Okay. They were not official acts of a president of the United States, though. They were the acts of a businessman who obviously was still running his business while he was president of the United States. I mean, that argument alone opens up a whole new can of worms that probably needs to be investigated, right? I mean, they made Jimmy Carter sell his peanut farm so that he couldn't profit off his peanuts while he was president of the United States. And yet Trump's lawyers are going to court telling a judge, hey, he was literally running his business while he was president of the United States. So have we really fallen that far as a country to where we no longer care when somebody is profiting off of the office of the presidency and literally running a business when they're supposed to be running the country? I mean, that's what he was getting paid for. So their argument is either completely false, or if it is true, then it actually opens up a whole new area that needs to be investigated. So no matter how you slice it, it's a very dumb legal argument, but certainly not as dumb as Alina Habba suggesting that Donald Trump should be immune from criminal prosecution from the moment he was born until apparently the moment he departs this world.